All right, here we are. So we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way. We're gonna do it because Streamlabs he's fucking up. Well, I hope it's not Streamlabs. So fuck it. We're gonna try it the old-fashioned way. See if this works out. Actually, let me do this since I'm not. Look it up. Let me watch myself to make sure it's fucking working. Yeah. Okay, it looks a lot better so far. Yeah. Yeah, it's Streamlabs. Streamlabs is a piece of fucking shit, dude. Just don't ever pay for it. Ever. Just don't ever pay for Streamlabs. It's seriously a piece of fucking shit. Just don't pay for it. It's just a total piece of like I've had nothing but just constant problems with it. Like it's just literally nothing but constant fucking problems. Like just don't fucking so I'm gonna cover article, but I can't put it up because I'm just in like the OG just regular YouTube. Just the regular YouTube live streaming. So I'm not on. So I'm just. So I can't put and I can't do any any videos or anything like that in it. So I'm gonna have to just read it. But yeah, would you ever address the JQ? What's the JQ? I don't know what that is. What's up, Jen? What's up, Damon? Yeah, yeah. Look, yeah. Looks like we're gonna be good now, but I can't put comments or anything on the screen. It's just like we're back to basic OG video. But yeah, so where I left off was with the workout equipment, I would definitely recommend Nintendo Ring Fit. That's where I left out. What's up, man? What's up, Mo? What you do today? Just chill. No, I ran a few errands today, but no, I didn't just chill. I definitely ran around a bit. So no drift. He says, "Yo, AD, just a question. With all the men leaving abroad, going MGTOW, and most women rejecting most men, what do you think the future will be? Men checking out is becoming very serious and palpable here. Um, I could try to play fortune teller, but I honestly don't know. I'll try to give my best assumption. Because the reality of wages are most men are the way the U.S. is now and how things played out. Most men just can't afford to leave and all that shit. I think what okay, one big possibility that I think will eventually happen at some point is homosexuality will be more the norm, right? Because again, the only thing that's given women literally any power anywhere on earth is because she's pretty and you want to fuck her, right? That's literally it. And I think if homosexuality becomes more accepted, either homosexuality, you just call it homosexuality either way, but if a dude just fuck another masculine dude or a dude just fucks a dude dressed up as a woman, whatever the fuck, as long as it I think eventually in time, what will happen is women will end up telling on themselves in this scenario because okay, I said this a long time ago. Women do not care about LGBT. The only reason women think they care about all this shit is because they know men don't like it. That's the only reason why women look, we try to become all this, loving and caring for. That's the only reason. And I stated this about a year ago. If men came out and was like openly accepting of it and was fucking other men and fucking trannies and all that, women would drop LGBT overnight. Overnight. Because men like it now. Overnight. I think at this rate where the US is, unless something really, really, really random happens, is I would say it's more specifically America. Americans have a lot more to kind of fight over because again, like we're just so alone and it's essentially an island. And from what I understand, Canada is not doing much better. In fact, it's doing a bit worse from what I'm understanding. since we're so far, the closest thing to us is what we perceive as like as super poor. Because yeah, remember America and Canada essentially just kind of follows North America with a lot of these things. Americans, our media always makes any foreign neighbor out to be a pure threat, thug, villain, evil, and all that. And that's not by accident. That's to keep you scared of leaving the country, right? That's to keep you scared, right? Um, I think that in time, men will just start having sex with other men. Men will just kind of just start saying fuck it, and it will just become more open and more than it would just become more open and easy and normal. I think at some level, like a pretty girl is just going to get attention because she's just a young pretty girl. Like that's just a part of it. But I think overall speaking, what's going to end up happening is women are going to keep pushing men and keep pushing. Okay, what women are trying to pull on men is what men can and historically be successful pulling on women, right? Women do not grow, adapt, or build anything. Women just all women do is just live off of whatever men give them and just deal with it, right? Now, if you were to flip that, if women tried to push men into shopping at fucking I don't know at shopping at let's say like best like okay let's use the shopping market as an example. If women tried to keep pushing all men to keep shopping, let's just say Best Buy for just as an example, right? And women kept trying to push the men to do it because that's what the women wanted. When it's clear that there's a better deal on Amazon or fucking Value City, whatever the fuck you want to, whatever the stores that's going to be cheaper, men will finally say, fuck it. This is the better, more efficient route is to go this way. And women have no choice but to go, uh-oh, guess we have to follow because women don't create anything. They follow shit, right? Right now when it comes that but here's the thing, the only thing that they have a proper hold on is sex, right? Because she's just a woman and that's her entitlement, right? That is literally the only part of woman on a whole on her existence historically. That's the only part that she has any type of a hold on is sex and being young and beautiful, right? If she can hold on to that for long. But entertain me, right? That's the only part that she and this is going on for a much longer time than Best Buy has been around, right? So it's going to take men a much longer, harder time to deprogram all of it. See, right now in society, you have a lot of men who are who who are willing to do some of the most embarrassing, pathetic things to get women's attention, and they'll swear up and down that they're not doing it, right? Fighting for women, protecting women just because they women and all that shit like that. Okay, the modern male today is not protecting a woman because she is just a woman. All right, where the situation is now in a dating market, um, the modern man, okay, when I left the US, the modern man is not protecting the woman because it's the righteous thing to do and all that shit anymore. I think a lot of that's died down. A part of it is just kind of male's DNA to be the protector, but I think in reality, a lot of that's died down. I think what it really is now is men are protecting women in hopes that he'll get her pussy one day. Or if not her pussy, she'll become friends with him and hook him up with one of her friends to get pussy, right? Like I said with the Andrew Tate dude, the only people for the okay for from the little bit that I've listened to the guy speak, right? The only people who can completely disagree with Andrew Tate is going to be one. It's going to be the women who figure that they can't get a guy like Andrew Tate, and then it's going to be the men who think they're going to go into that into that smorgasbord of rejected women and get pussy out of that. Right? Those are the only two groups that can hear. I'd say, generally speaking, for because I listened to the dude speak. I think like last night I watched like maybe like 2 minutes of him talking, and I can tell just by his general like awareness he has it. Because I didn't even know the dude was a fighter. I think he said he was a cage fighter or some shit like that. And he said he knew he could turn himself into a millionaire if he trained that hard for his life for that. And like I said, it's like from the general awareness, I'm just sure I'm not going to agree with him on every single thing, but I think the general awareness is there, like he has it, right? He's got it on some level. Even if he had been given all the money by his parents and all that, which I don't think he did. I think he legit went out there and did some of it, at least a decent amount of it on his own. But even with a dude like that, from what I'm like understanding, listening to him, even if he had gotten it, a mansion given to him and four, Lamborghinis and Bugattis given to him. Now there's something in there clicking, like he does have it. Now I think he's getting a bit like too confident. I mean, but that comes part of like the media world and all that. But at the core level, yeah, he's got it, right? I can't be mad at him for that, right? But again, the only people who can just simply say he's not right is going to be the women who know that they're not in his league uh on a dating market level, and it's going to be and then after that it's going to be all the men who are secretly coming to try to pick out all the weak women who are mad because they're not good enough and think they gonna bamboozle their way into getting some pussy on the back end. But where do I think the West is going to? I think in North America, okay, at this point, I'm just gonna call a spade is what it is. And if anybody who's paying attention, that like I will say whatever I truly feel about it. I think most American men are gonna be too sheltered. I think they're too sheltered and too scared to go out on their own. And when I say go out on their own, I mean like legit go out there and do something, right? Not like sit up and wait for some job to say, come on, you can work for me now type shit. But now go out there like on your own and leave that herd and go out and do something and create something, whatever the fuck it is, on your own. I think American men at this point, after just the course of history, after modern feminism took over, then that gave rise to lack of identity, which gave rise to trying to attach any identity you can to yourself, whether it's mental health, your shoes, your coat, anything. Right. So in this period, men have lost majority of their value, whereas women don't really have value outside of just standing there looking pretty. So the woman, like I say, women thrive in being pathetic because they could just stand there and be a fucking sculpture and then that's it. Right. And somebody's gonna come, fuck it. Somebody's gonna go fuck the sculpture. Women don't have anything to gain or lose in character because they have no character. Right. Whereas men do. Okay, well, men should have to go and work hard to build up their character. But I think again, I think at this point, since women were allowed to take over, women were allowed to take over. In the core was a destruction of the modern man. When men being raised by women, well, that's just it. Men being raised by women. That was it. It's made men scared. The men have turned into women, worrying about what everybody think about them. Just this desperate need to find identity, this desperate need to how to become better. What does you do? And it is just this complete confusion because a woman says she wants a guy to make six figures. Now guys will go out there and fucking cut their fucking left arm off to do it, while they lost sense of what they may have actually genuinely wanted the whole time. And I think areas like this is where I think it's an easy thing to sell, but I think it's ultimately damaging. Areas like this is like you should want to earn six figures. You should want to do this. You should want to do that. Okay, I'm going to tell you, maybe you don't even want that. You may not even want that, right? It sounds nice. Like having threesomes. I'll tell you from personal experiences, I will reject the threesome at the drop of a hat because you know why? Because I've actually had threesomes and they're not that fun. The only men who say that threesomes are that fun for any extended period of time are men who are trying to live up to your expectations. Threesomes are not that fun. I've had my fair share of them, and I will reject threesomes. Right? And same thing goes with money. You know how many motherfuckers go out there? They heard a woman wants a man who's 6 foot, so he cuts his fucking knees out and installs fucking telephone poles in his legs to make himself 6 foot now or 2 meters tall. Right? You've lost you've lost all sense of idea. What the fuck do you like first, right? And then make everything work around that, right? See, I know myself. I'm comfortable with myself. I know myself, right? I went off and lived in small villages and towns where nobody speaks English, and I learned myself. I know myself well enough to where I will tell you straight up, I am more happier in a quiet, climate control room with a beer and a PlayStation, right? Than a friend of mine who was not quite a mansion, but he has a big ass house in Arizona right now. Well, he used to live in Texas and he moved to Arizona. I will tell you wholeheartedly straight. I know I'm more happy because I know what makes me. I'm not that fucking 40-year-old man who's all lost and confused out there doing yoga, trying to refine himself again because he never knew who the fuck he was from the start. Right? Like that lack of identity, man. It's that lack of identity. Because then what? So on your path of growing up, how does the path for a man goes growing up generally goes like this. Once he realizes women want a strong man, well, most men are going to try to work out physically at some point and judge themselves on that, right? Then the next step is going to be money. Oh, I don't have any money. Now, some men, they'll cut their fucking left nut off or chop their own fucking leg off to get a bunch of money. They'll rip their own eyeballs out to get that earning potential to get money because they think that's going to make a woman love them. Right. And then next thing's gonna know is gonna be social positioning and status. So now this motherfucker's gonna pay some fucking con man $3,000 to fucking teach him how to fucking grow his social status and become a better public speaker. So far deep in, he's gonna analyze his fucking chest ratio to his shoulders because this is what's scientifically been found to fucking, and he's gonna turn to these black pill fucking dingbats, right? Because he just never just looked in the mirror and said, what the fuck do I like? Fuck everybody else's feelings. What the fuck do I like? Right? What is it? Do I like just playing Zelda? There's nothing wrong with playing Zelda. If you like playing Zelda, play fucking Zelda. Right? Because now you know what you like, right? And the reality of it is, okay, from fucking Andrew Tate to Andrew Bates, if he don't like if he doesn't have something he genuinely likes, that motherfucker with that Bugatti is jealous of you because you have something you like. You have Zelda, you have the Nintendo Switch, you have whatever the fuck, you have drawing, you have music, you have whatever the fuck, right? See the motherfuckers driving down the street in that Bugatti, they jealous of you, right? So when they see you sitting over there being happy, they'd rather try to take that happiness from you instead of go down and actually become happy with themselves, right? So then what do? Right? You go, oh well, I don't have what he has, so I guess I better leave everything I like and become like him. And that's another way it starts to lack of identity. Because since he has that car, he must have a bitch, right? It's the lack of identity, man. Lack of identity. Well, Alan Watts, he talks about it. I've been meaning to post that one speech he has about I think it's like the game of life, where he was saying how, how like, how pretty much the school system has turned into this situation where the student is always, what do you say? Something along the lines of the student is always trained to live in the future, but is never ever trained to live in the present. I think was what it was, right? Like you're never ever trained to live in the present. You're always trained to live in the future. So he goes in this speech Alan Watts has, he goes, first it starts out in kindergarten. Then you work hard enough because you want to be good for, first grade. You want to work hard enough to be good for second grade. And it goes off to high school. You want to then once you've made it to high school, and now you have to work harder to become good in university. Then you go to university, you have to work harder to either find a good job or go off to a master's degree. And then you work hard enough for that. And you work out and you finally go out to the world. Well, then you go work at some insurance company or some nonsense, and they're shoving some shit down your throat because now you got to work harder to become at that, right? You got to work harder. And then he said, and then after so much of that, you end up 45 years old and look up. You don't feel much different except you feel like you've been cheated out of life, right? Because you never actually sat down and had your own identity. It was always living in the future. You were never living in the present, right? Right. Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. Women are jealous of men. Women are jealous. Okay, when your thing doesn't have to be video games. Your thing could be working. Your thing could be, building computers. Your thing could be painting walls, right? But here's the thing: motherfuckers are gonna hate you in life. People will be mad at you because you have something that you genuinely like and they don't, right? So you have to look out for that, man. There's American men who've gotten height surgery. Yeah, I think, yeah, Javi, what's up, Javi? And I think it's absolutely pathetic. I think it's absolutely pathetic. Now, women cutting their bodies open to appeal to men, that fits woman's character because women has no character, no admirable character. So she has to do anything she can to get attention. She'll draw on her face for 3 hours. She'll cut her fucking tits open. She'll inject fix a flat in her ass cheeks. She doesn't give a fuck. As long as men like it, she'll do it. She'll wear a clown nose if she figures men like it. I said a long time ago, if Melania Trump started wearing clown noses, oh, within 6 months, Dolce and Gabbana be selling $500 clown noses and be sold out because women are fucking pathetic, dude. They get up. Women, I say also, see, women thrive in being pathetic. That's when woman thrives. She does her best when she's pathetic. Right? When she's either okay, I say she thrives. Not correction. I say woman thrives when she's pathetic and agreeable. But ultimately, if woman just agreeable, she'll thrive. Just just be a fucking mannequin and just nod her head yes and smile. And a woman, that'll just boost woman's career tenfold. The problem is that simps will always be around at every point in time. Yeah, at some point there's going to be some group of men. I think what where the West is headed is I think slowly what's going to happen is homosexuality will be more accepted among men because the only reason homosexuality is any type of a big deal is because men have issues with it, right? On an open thing, and it's been a historic thing too. Men have historically always not cared for it. You can see, argue the biological route of it's not adding to actual creation to humanity, whatever your argument is. But historically, homosexuality has never been widely accepted throughout human history. It's always been this kind of thing, like the motherfuckers. It's never been favored, right? But I think at this rate, with the dynamic of North America, I think homosexuality it'll slowly get there. I really do think it. I think it will get there, and then women will drop it, hate it, and I think that'll ultimately be what brings down the women. Really, just men, just okay. Because the core issue is men just not paying attention to women, right? But again, the only solid hold women have is that men are going to eventually want to fuck them, right? And that's woman's safety net in her existence as a human, right? Somebody's gonna want to fuck her, so there's no need to stress too bad about whatever the problem is. All right. But what's up, MG Verde? Yeah, looks like it's smoother now, so it's definitely Streamlabs fucking up because it looks like it's it's Streamlabs fucking up. As always, it's nothing new. Sex work should be legal. The Alchemist Lab, I tell you what, man, my opinion on America, I changed my opinion. At first, I said it would kind of destroy America, but at this point, I think American men have just been beaten down so badly that if they made sex work legal, it would just make it, I think it would make it worse at that point. If men knew that there was an option to go out and get sex with some money, at this point, the women have just gone so haywire with it. I think it would make it worse, honestly, in North America. Um, I think it'll make it worse because the men have been so conditioned to just like see a Cash App address in a woman's dating profile, and you should Cash App her before she talks to you. And men are actually doing this shit, right? I think out there, I think in the US, and I'd say Canada in the same boat. I think it's just going to, I think sex work there for any type of decent quality woman, I think it would just make things worse. So they'll just straight up ask for $10,000 with a straight face. I think it's at that point. Now over here, they couldn't do that. A woman can't do that. She can't. I mean, you always have these, depending on what walk of life. If you go to the right walk of life, no matter where you are, $10,000 would be changed to them. But but over here, it's going to be much harder for a woman to get anywhere near that attention that they can get in America just by just being skinny, right? It's not going to work over here. So yeah, and I think that's why, like, you know, Show Park, the brothels over here can survive the way they do, is because the women have been humbled. Okay, and they're humbled for different reasons, because you got them bitches out east. Because that book I was reading, because he said that's what they was doing. Cambridge Analytica. That's what they would go out to Ukraine and get about 4 or 5 bitches from Ukraine and pay them, $900, and fly them down to different countries in Africa, to further promote them as being successful. Get some skinny bitches, get some skinny Ukrainian bitches, pay them $900, fly them down to Africa, and say, hey, like, we have this technology that can detect, what people are thinking about your politics and all this, and you can sway their votes so you can win. And they would, sell it to their politicians for millions. That should have went to like healthcare and all that. They would give it to Cambridge Analytica to get that information on getting themselves promoted to whatever position in government they wanted, right? But see, the reason why over here they can do that, because that average wage in Ukraine is $200, $300 a month. And for most of them people there, it's about $200, $300 per month, right? So see, that woman would jump at a chance for let's say $500. She'll jump at a chance, because to her, that's 2.5 months of staying on her feet all day at fucking at Applebee's. You know what I mean? And all she got, and on top of that, and they gonna buy her a dress and some shoes. You know what I mean? Oh, she's fucking and sucking for that easily, right? But see, in America, the average wage is about $2,000 a month. So you got to go over there with $6,000 before she's getting ready to do something like that quick, right? And these are the downfalls of being out that far out in the West like that, or just that far out, is that the women in the US, they're not feeling that same pressure. See, out in Europe, they feeling that pressure. Like I said, you go 8 hours east, and motherfuckers is making $300 a month again. But if you go 8 hours west, motherfuckers making 2,000 euros a month, right? So they feeling that financial pressure. Okay, that financial pressure is going to push more of the biological balancing of how we thrive as man and woman, right? When you go to these poorer countries, see, women realize, okay, no, we got to sell our womanness, because ain't no affirmative action for women in these countries, and the government ain't gonna give us money to survive. So we got to play. We got to we got to do what we do as bitches. We got to look good. We got to fix this shit, right? And I mean, but out west, see, she knows, and especially in the US, see, she knows there's not that much pressure for her to better herself, right? So it's like, let herself go, and on top of that, dicks still get hard, so she'll have a lineup somewhere. What's up, Ace? Long time. I hope you're doing good, man. I'm good. Andrew Tate's been chilling out recently. He just wants to be left alone. I have no. I remember he was in jail and they was taking his Bitcoin or something like that. I don't know if they ever did. I hope they didn't. I think that's fucked up. But I hope he's doing all right. And now, according to demographic statistics, 55% of U.S. Black males don't have kids. They've been talking about it all over social media here. Those effects are slowly happening in the U.S. 55% of U.S. Black males don't have kids. That's wild. All them black women out there listening to Beyonce and Nicki Minaj because they want they going after unicorns. Loving this MGTOW Easy Street. Yeah, man. I was like, I said there was an episode of Office where Gabe, the character Gabe on the Office, he said he would just go to he would just save up his money all year and then just go to Amsterdam and fuck a bunch of hookers and then go back to work. You know, go fly back to the U.S. and go back to work again. And I agree with him. I think that's an excellent idea. If you live in America, I think that's an excellent idea. Absolutely, I think Gabe is on to something. He said that it was his character in the Office. He said he he said that he what he does is he just saves his money and buys a ticket to Amsterdam. I've never been to Amsterdam, but from what I've seen and doing the math on Europe, it sounds about right. With the red light district, he just goes out there, he saves up his money, goes out there and just gets it all out of his system for about 2-3 weeks. You know what I mean? And then when his money gone, he just go back to America and just goes back to work. And that's what he had been doing for years on the show, right? And I agree. I think that's an excellent plan. I would tell any man to do that. Because that feels okay. Because now I've never been to Amsterdam, but doing the math on how Europe works with that East versus West, see them hookers, they gonna see, like I said, see women thrive when they cut their bodies open for anything, right? See, they gonna put them fake tits in and fake asses and all. So whatever you looking for, if I had to guess, you gonna find that shit in the red light district. Whatever body type and all that. If I had to guess, based off how Europe works, because see, them girls out west, they'll do anything to get out east. Right? Because see, going out, I'm sorry, those girls out east, they'll do anything to go out west because the west, that's where all the money, that's where a decent percentage of the money is. It's going to be, especially in that the blue banana, right? That blue banana. Well, for those of you in Europe, you should know what I'm talking about. That blue banana, that's where like majority of the money is. It's just, well, I can't show you because Streamlabs is fucked up, but they're gonna try to get out west. That's how you can tell the success, the quality success of a woman here is if she can get further out west, right? And Prague is like the hub on their way. It's like it's literally the middle ground to cross over into that shit. Right. So by the time they didn't got to Amsterdam, oh yeah, they if I had to get, well, maybe I can see the dynamic of some girls they got out there and now they know they out there for good. So now they finally, turned into being a piece of shit. But if I had to guess, it shouldn't take too long to find a woman out there who to find your dream girl in North America, right? Because I've already done that here. There's this one girl I always tell everybody about who well, I can't show you guys. She looked like Callie Thorne because I always wanted to fuck Callie Thorne from Rescue Me. So if anybody knows the show Rescue Me, I always wanted to fuck Callie Thorne back in the day because I just thought she was just like this really, she's older now, but she was this exotic looking woman. So there was a Callie Thorne looking bitch down in Show Park, right? And yeah, she actually had a much better body than Callie Thorne too. But she's a bitch though. But she's a hooker, so she's fucking. But see, in the US, you just don't have those options. See, motherfuckers in the UK, they got that option. They just, buy a ticket for 80 euros and be out here. You know what I mean? 80 euros and about a 2-hour plane flight and hour and a half, 2 hours, you out here. See, America, you got that's a 9-hour trip, 15-hour trip, counting layovers. And it's a $1,500, about $1,000, flight. You got them options. So I just say, just do like Gabe does and just do Gabe. You mean save up money all year? Go because with all that time and stress Gabe would have went through in North America trying to get bitches to act right, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. All right. You paying for bitches food and dates and all this shit. Okay, so this is what I want everybody to do, man. Well, nowadays it's dating market so fucked up. It just may not be a good experiment. But I would say calculate all the money that you spent on women, right? Right. coming from the reason why you bought those shoes because you thought you look better for a bitch, to the reason why you bought that jacket, to the reason why you went out and wanted to buy a house, to the reason why you wanted that certain car. If having a woman was an influence on that, like factor in all that money that if women weren't a problem, you wouldn't have spent it on. Right. And really look at that shit. And on top of that, okay, let's say you did get with an American woman. Okay, factor in divorce, legal issues, all that shit. Is that really financially worth it? Or would you have a better time just, $1,000 plane flight, a hotel? I don't know how much hotels go for out there, because it's kind of all over the place now. But I bet you that overall cost is gonna be lesser than dealing with that mentally and financially. It's gonna be lesser doing what Gabe does than fucking around with that American shit. Because I might have to come back. I think I'm gonna have to go back to America sometime this year to renew my license. And I'll tell you flat out, I am jacking off the whole time I'm out there. Oh, well, to be fair, if I do end up going to like, a nicer bar or something like that in a decent neighborhood and some woman's like acting right, like I can just fucking and I can just leave the country so I don't have to ever see her or deal with her again. So I mean, that is a possibility, but I'm definitely not opposed to just jacking off the porn the whole time I'm there. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna shame that out of me. I don't watch pornography. I am a better class of citizen. I think that's just funny, man. It's just motherfuckers is such a lack of identity that they will blame anything on their personal problems. Like, oh, I'm jacking off too much. Oh, did you hear the new trend about eating your crumbs when you finish dinner? Oh, I'm not a crumb eater. Yeah, it's been scientifically proven that eating crumbs will lead to higher depression rates. And man, shut the fuck up, you fucking faggot. See, you was such a lack of identity crisis that you are in such a lack of identity. You will find anything to find a safe haven for identifying either with or against. I would jack my dick off, or I will fuck a hooker. Got me fucking trying to like society like, but no, I don't jack off the pornography. Are you fucking like what the fuck is? I mean, like, motherfuckers have whole groups on that shit, like, and they get to just circle jerking each other. Yeah, we don't jack our dicks off. Oh yeah, we don't jack. Motherfuckers, man, look. Now I can see with the masturbation addiction, if you was like jacking off so much to where like you was like, like you was fucking up money, like fucking up your living opportunities because of money shit, like then I say, you gotta do something about this. Right. Look, if you can keep your line of income for a quality of life that you want up, then fucking jack off for 10 hours. I don't give a like do it. I don't jack off to pornography. I am a better class citizen. I look down on you for masturbating to porn. Porn is fucking great. All right. That shit is amazing. Porn is fucking great, dude. But that's that women shit. Men started following women and they lost their sense of identity. And that's what happens when you don't have there's a reason why women buy 66% of all shit on earth is because women don't have an identity. So they have to keep buying shit to kind of desperately find their identity because they don't have one. Right? And biologically, most of them will never ever have one. Their identity is what man can protect them. Right? That is woman's identity, is to find man who can protect her. Right? But what happened is men started adopting all that old silly shit, taking duck face selfies and all this goofy shit because they done lost track of who the fuck they were. So now men start doing the shit, but now they taking it out on now they trying to find philosophies and all this shit like that. And they just getting more confused as it goes on. Going to Greek philosophers, you'll find one Greek philosopher who be against it, the other one be totally for it. Look, don't get me wrong. I enjoy older philosophy. You know what I mean? But I enjoy it. I don't, I mean, I enjoy it. And I find what I agree with, or I listen to other philosophers' perspectives. But I'm not going to try to sit up and identify my life off this motherfucker, off Marcus Aurelius or Aristotle or I don't know how Diogenes. I don't even know how to say the motherfucker's name. I just like to listen to other people's perspectives on shit. But that's in no way, shape, or form. I'm not gonna base my life off this motherfucker type shit. I mean, like I was always okay, because I remember when I first kind of even slightly dove into it, because I had come to my own conclusion that I didn't have to eat, expensive food when I was in college, right? I didn't have to eat expensive food. And I had come to this conclusion back then in my 20s, right? That like there's no difference. Like I'm just eating, I'm getting full, and if the food's healthy, then it's fine, right? And I stumbled on Michelangelo actually. He said that I forget what was it. I can't remember what exactly what Michelangelo said about eating. Oh, he I think he said I'm pretty sure it was Michelangelo. He said he always ate as if he was a pauper. He never ate as if he was. And I was like, I can see that. I can understand, like, well, I can see the reality in it, right? I think Da Vinci, he said some shit like he would buy birds, caged birds, and let them go because he didn't want them to be like locked up. I thought that was cool shit. But there was another philosopher. He said something along the lines of there was a man who was living at home, right? And of course, that's where he lives. And one of the king's like fucking secretaries came to his house, and the secretary said, "Look, man, if you just worship the king, you wouldn't have to eat lentils for dinner." And the man replies, he goes, "Well, I eat lentils so I don't have to worship the king." You know what I mean? And that was deeper shit. But I mean, but I had come to that conclusion of like not being attached to any luxury, like pretty much on my own. When I got out there, like more independently. Well, no, I was independent at the time. And this was after living in a homeless shelter and doing all that shit like that. I had come to that conclusion on my own because, and again, I think another thing that helped me was watching, um, just watching the women I would be around and just how quickly they would just fall in and out of luxury type of shit, right? I was just watch and just see how they would just be like just ridiculous with it, and then living my own life and figuring that out. It was just an interesting time. The issue was never really the substance or the thing; it's the person having lack of control and self discipline. Yeah. Who's your favorite actress? Currently enjoying Camilla Clutch and Jesse. That sounds familiar. I don't know many names anymore. But I did get hit by like a one of those scammers, right? I got hit by one of those scammers. But guess what I'm looking up, right? You guys can't see my screen, but I'm trying to see. I don't know who Camilla Clutch is. Okay. Thick girl. I got hit with a scammer, right? But guess what they use? They use a picture of Sarah Vandella. So like she was a porn actress, maybe she was a bit more popular, I say probably about 10, 15 years ago. Because I've jacked off plenty of times to Sarah Vandella. So I know exactly who she is as soon as I see the picture. Right. uh, but as far as like the names of any particular woman, I'm not so much into any one particular one anymore. That are like that. My time of doing that was back when I was like more exploring, let's say like for example, like when I was exploring like hardcore porn. Like because I'm 37 now. So back when I was maybe like 20, like the internet was still like 17 years ago, the internet was still more in its, relatively speaking, its infancy. Like there wasn't many like tube sites like Lobster Tube where you can just like how Pornhub is now. Pornhub is essentially YouTube now, right? But like back then, you used to have to download the videos or just like look at the pictures. So I remember when I first found like the site Lobster Tube, right? And I told my brother about it because he didn't know anything about it. Like he thought it was just pictures on the internet. I said, no, you can actually watch movies and like clips, and that was a big deal. But back then, that was when I got into names, because back then, like I've always been sadistic, right? So I didn't know that, like, I thought something was wrong with me back then, right? So so when I stumbled on finding like a rough porn actress, like I would just absolutely love her. Because back then, when a porn actress would do a film, right, they would just put back in those days, they would just put like a bunch of them in one film, like one right after another. So like one girl may be a bit rougher, the other girl may be more, whatever, softer, and shit like that, right? Well, um, so for example, Belladonna, I still remember I was watching this one porno with Belladonna, but I didn't know who Belladonna was at the time, right? But she was just like more into just like a little more dirtier. And back then, like I told a friend of mine, like I said, like I think it's just like the hottest shit. Like if a woman would just like pick up dirt from the ground, just put it in her mouth, kind of thing. Like I was always on that shit, like sadistic shit, like humiliation slash sadistic shit. I was always on it. So like I remember, when I had that DVD, when I had that porno, I got it. I think I got it from him, and I always remembered her face and just her body, right? Because that was the only actress who was like that dirty, and the rest of the girls were just like, just honestly just weren't very interesting outside of just being physically a woman. Like just kind of more boring. So I remember when I stumbled on her like years later and found her again. But Belladonna, she was probably one of my favorites. Not, and I mean, she used to have an amazing body when she was like in her early years. Not, well, I'll say she used to have a more amazing body, of course, when she was younger. But it was more like she just has like this submissive, masochistic angle about her, which I think is just amazing. But again, as far as like any one actress goes, like they, it gets hard for me to do that anymore because it feels like what I hate most about porn, especially modern porn now, is that all the women are just like acting, they're acting sexy, right? Like it's just so fucking uncomfortable to watch it. No matter how beautiful she is, if she's trying to pretend to be sexy, and there's no sense of like shaking her out of it, right? Like now that's the good thing about with European porn is like even when they do try to act sexy, like the guy will like kind of nudge her out of it to get her like like she's a bit out of control, and I think that's hot. But like, and when it comes to the Western porn, I think it's really on this shit. Unless you find like an independent maker or something like that, or facial abuse, or some guys like that, it's really just shit. So let me read this article. You guys can't see it because Streamlabs is a piece of shit. So I have to read it. So it says, I went on vacation and didn't miss my husband, so I divorced him. Eat, pray, divorce. A UK mother, I'm not surprised, of 4 had an epiphany about her marriage while on a 10-day girls' trip to Greece. Well, okay. The biggest influence was she was hanging around them girls. That was the biggest influence. Let me read that back one more time. A UK mother of 4 had an epiphany about her marriage while on a 10-day girls' trip to Greece. Yeah. It really didn't have anything to do with Greece. This was hanging out. Well, this is women hanging out with other women. Stephanie Hansen went on vacation with her best friends to Kefalonia in May 2022 to celebrate her 40th birthday. I had a moment of clarity at the hotel. I had been miserable in my marriage as long as I can remember. Hanson, now 41, told Southwest News Service, I was having the best time with the girls, and the thought of going back to my husband was awful. According to Hanson, the realization came to her while she was by the hotel pool. I remember thinking, wow, I was away, about how I really missed the kids, but I didn't miss my husband, she said. I was in the worst shape of my life, and it dawned on me at home I was miserable, so I did something about it. And well, you guys can see, but they're UK women, so of course they're not of a healthy body weight. You guys can't. Oh yeah, you guys can't see it because Streamlabs is a piece of shit. But I'm looking at her pictures right here, and yeah, typical. Well, she's better looking than American women, but she's still, yeah, still off. So she continues. Hanson said that upon her arrival, she immediately ended her marriage. So when I flew back, I ended it there and then. I knew I'd made the right decision when I saw his reaction, Hanson told SWNS. The newly single Hanson said that she saw the end of her marriage as a chance to give herself a total makeover. After leaving my ex-husband, the next thing I needed to do was lose weight, said Hanson. The photos from the holiday made me see what a horrible shape I was in, so I started working out at home and changed my diet. So yeah, so you guys can't see these pictures. So she was fat and she lost weight, right? Now, had the thought dawned on her at any moment that maybe the reason why the marriage fell apart was because she was fat and she wouldn't lose the weight, do you think that might have had something to do with it somewhere along the path? It can't just be me who can see that correlation. You guys can't see it because again, Streamlabs is a piece of shit. So I'm on the OG YouTube stream. I will show you the picture, but I can't right now. But she lost weight. Maybe I'll post a link in the description. I'll put on in the live stream. Yeah, so she lost. So she lost weight. Hanson began exercising and watching her diet, and said she went from weighing 238 pounds to 168. Yeah, that's rough. She weighed 230. She was big. She weighed 238 pounds and went to 168. Because my girl, she gave birth about it. She's been struggling with the weight getting it off, but she got up to about two. My girl got up to about 200 during the pregnancy. She gained a lot of weight throughout that time. She got to 238. She was fucking horrible, dude. This woman was terrible. Like my girl was carrying a baby and she gained weight and got up to about 200. I think it was right around there. This woman went up to 200. She weighed two. So let's be real. This says 238 pounds. She's probably more like 250, 260. She was horrible. This woman was disgusting. Okay, in trying to align who was valuable for what and why, because I'm gonna share a bomb with this, and this goes back to what I said probably about a month or two ago. Okay, she probably ended the marriage, but he was gone long before she ended it. He was gone. But again, see, men typically don't like the end shit because men just don't want to hear problems. But he was gone before that. He was gone. She went up to 250 pounds. And this picture says she went down to 168. I'm looking at, she was terrible. It was hard at first, but the motivation of being freshly single carried me through, recalled Hanson. In July, Hanson said that she met a man named David through Facebook dating, and the two have been smitten ever since. We head off straight away, gushed Hanson. I met him around halfway through my fitness journey, but he didn't care about that. He loved me as I was. If I hadn't gone on that holiday, I'd still be stuck in a marriage with a man I no longer love. So to be where I am now, I couldn't be happier. See, what she's also not saying is, see, when you lose 100 pounds like that, see, you can't see the picture, but she lost 100 pounds, right? As a 40-year-old woman. So the other part that she's going to desperately dance and run away from and try not to touch on is the fact, see, as long as she's dressed like she is in this picture, she's wearing sweaters and coats and shit. She can hide behind that sagging weight, that sagging extra skin and all that shit. She can put on makeup, use filters, all that shit to hide, put on 3 or 4 layers of clothes to hide this shit. But see, that dude you met on Facebook, see, he ain't seen all that dead skin yet. And you got them kids. That's brutal. That's rough. That's rough, man. And man, like I said, man, see, women just don't really get it. There's a reason why Zeus would go off and fuck regular mortal bitches, right? there's a reason why Zeus didn't just fuck with all. There's a reason why Zeus didn't fuck with. He didn't fuck around too long with other women on Mount Olympus with him. There's a reason why he wouldn't. He left them bitches. See, he didn't do that shit on accident. It just happened to be like that. There's a reason why Zeus wasn't hanging up, or he wasn't hanging. I mean, he'll fuck a few of them up there from time to time, but I mean, because bitches just have nice asses. But there's a reason why Zeus was. I mean, he was going to Montana and fucking a candle maker or some shit like that. And also, for some reason, women just love. Man, I got a cousin like that. Man, she always want to go to Greece. Don't probably know how to spell Greece. She probably spell it Grease. But she always says, "I want to go to Greece." You don't even know where Greece is. Places like Greece, Italy, France. Those are basic cookie cutter, destinations for bitches who ran out of time, right? Because it's the easiest thing they know from love novels and love movies on what they think they should be doing because other bitches like it, right? See, ever notice these women, they ain't trying to go out to Uzbekistan and no shit like that. They ain't trying to go to Turkey or, you see what I'm saying? These bitches ain't never going. See, when they write these stories, they ain't never going to fucking Ohio or fucking, you know what I'm saying, Montana. Now, Zeus would go to Turkey and Montana and St. Louis because bitches just have nice asses, right? But see, you don't never hear about women going off and find a dream man in Ukraine, do you? Ugh, ew. That's a lower wage than this. See, women ain't, they're never going down. They always, if they go down, it's because of some social status that the place had for some reason. But she ain't going. See, women, they not okay. If a woman is coming from, let's say, I say a Czech woman, you will have anomalies here or there, but you're not okay. But okay, now I'll say this: you will not find a Czech woman who's going out to Ukraine to find a dream man, whereas you have a Ukrainian woman coming to Czech Republic to find a dream man. Or let's go to the next extreme. Let's use like the UK and Ukraine, of course, before Putin happened, right? You're not going to find a woman in the UK going to Ukraine. Now, Greece, again, because Greece has that social status, so I think that kind of boosted it up because it's Greek. Greece has the history of mythology and all that shit pumping behind it, right? I've never been to Greece, but Greece does have a dominant place in European history. So that's what kind of boosts them up. But see, she's not going to Hungary to find a dream man. She ain't going to Ukraine to find a dream man. She didn't. But see, but Ukraine and Hungary, see, those women, they'll go to the UK to find a dream man, right? Now, men as men, we don't care. Men just like a physically healthy, attractive young woman. That's it. It don't matter where she is. It doesn't matter where it doesn't matter where the fuck she lives. She could live underneath a fucking trash can. All right, that bitch got a nice ass. Motherfuckers gonna be like, yo, who is that bitch with that nice ass underneath that trash can? Yo, you know the bitch I'm talking about, the one who wear the yellow sweatpants? Yeah, her. What's her name? Where she come from? What? Now, you talk about a man living under a trash can. Ugh, he don't even exist. No matter what he looks like. And that's where I was. Yeah, that's where I was going to go next with that. What I started is ran out earlier with the whole identity crisis. See, men are on this whole like what I look like and all that shit like that, man. But again, it's been women leading the way too much. A woman's life, a woman's quality of life can highly depend on what she looks like. Men, it can, but it's in no way okay. But with men, it's more about confidence and personality. That's what will get you through doors. Okay, with a woman, what will generally get a woman through to a higher tax bracket is she just physically looks good. She don't have to actually have to convey any personality to you, right? If she just looks good and just knows how to smile and she looks like she can be agreeable, that will get her boosted through tax brackets, right? Whereas a man, what a man's safe bet is that is his character and personality. The looks, I mean, you can find groups where that can work, but for the most part, a man's personality and swagger will get him up in the higher tax brackets, right? But again, with this black pill shit and focusing on what you look like and all that shit, it plays a little part for sure. I'm not gonna act like it doesn't. But for men, if the confidence just isn't there, then it's like, okay, yeah, now you're gonna fall into this like whole stereotype and all that. Whereas like a woman with that confidence, that really don't mean anything when it's a club down the street and motherfuckers trying to get money spent. Look, she can be confident as fuck, but look like Rosie O'Donnell. Men are not lined up to go in that club. Right? What club are men gonna be lined up to get into? That bitch who fucking, I mean, the bitch with that hourglass figure and wearing high heels. You get a bunch of them together. You see that is a woman's method of survival. And that's the thing, man. Like I get real mad about black pill, not real mad, but get like upset about it. Not even upset, just frustrated. Really, it's because that black pill shit is turning men into bitches, right? And on top of that, you got this internet shit, right? Men are spending too much time on the internet. It's too much it's in terms of dealing with bitches and shit like that. See, this internet is incidentally turning men into cowards on the back end, right? Because I get like you want to become better and all that shit like that, but in reality, all you're really doing is okay. What most men are doing on Earth is they're trying to learn how to go into a boxing ring and not take any punches, right? And trying to be respectable on that. Well, okay, and when in reality, you don't okay, when you're a boxer, you're gonna be respected because you can take that punch and keep going, right? Because if you never took any punches, what's that? Okay, what's the reality that's gonna tell any opponent? If you never taken any punches, the first time somebody just throws a decent left jab, you're gonna fall down or run home crying, right? So I think the internet is inadvertently turning men making men more pathetic, right? Because it's always this push on how to become better faster, right? And I think it's a normal human push to have this, want. But on the back end, it's like that want is also taking away the pure adventure, right? And men are valued for being adventurous. Men, right? Men are valued for being adventurous. Men are valued because they have the scars, because they got punched in the face, because they got rejected and got back up and kept moving, See that's where men thrive, is it's in that, right? Women don't thrive. Women's implode at that shit. Women cannot take rejection. They cannot take being punched in the face. The song by John Mayer. I highly recommend any man at least read. I'll read the lyrics off because it sounds like a song for bitches, but it's really real shit. I'm gonna read off the lyrics. Hang on, because I know the lyrics somewhat, but it's been so long since I listened to the song. I'd rather just read them off so I don't fuck it up. This is one of the most red pill songs you would ever hear, but it has a jingly sound to it. So you would think it's for women, but it's really red pill shit. So the lyrics go, I know a girl, she puts the color inside of my world, but she's just like a maze where all of the walls are continually changed. And I've done all I can to stand on her steps with my heart in my hands. Now I'm starting to see maybe it's got nothing to do with me. Now I'm trying to read it and not like sing it how he sings it because it has this whole like melody to it. But yeah, he say yeah, like he did all he could to wait for this girl's love, but he finally woke up and said, "Wow, like this has nothing to do with me. Why she's not responding to me and all that." And that was that ultimate level of growth. Again, I think this song, the song "Daughters" by John Mayer, the lyrics are great. You may not like the actual song and how he sings it, but the lyrics, in my opinion, is one of the most red pill pop songs. I would call it a pop song that I know of at least. So let me continue reading. So the chorus goes, fathers, be good to your daughters. Daughters will love like you do. Girls become lovers who turn into mothers. So mothers, be good to your daughters too. So then the next lyrics kind of softer goes, oh, you see that skin. It's the same she's been standing in. Since the day she saw him walking away, now she's left cleaning up the mess he made. Yeah. So John Mayer was pretty much sitting there trying to be like the best guy for her. She didn't want him. He finally woke up and seen like, yeah, she doesn't want me, and it's nothing personal, but she's just not into me right now. So she ends up getting with a guy who dogged her out, and now she's left cleaning up the mess he made. And then the next one was like that. I forget what you call that break, but he goes, boys, you can break. You'll find out how much they can take. Boys will be strong and boys soldier on, but boys would be gone without a warmth from a woman's good heart. Meaning, like, pretty much mothers are like a decent woman. But yeah, I would say like the first two of the song Daughters is like definitely some red pill shit. It just sounds like some romantic shit, but the lyrics are real in that for the most part. If your girl goes on a girl's trip, just save some time and prepare the divorce papers while she's gone. 260. She weighs as much as LeBron James. MG Verde, you talk about the woman, she lived happily ever after. Oh, that's how they gonna name it. That's how they gonna make it look. She lived happily ever because they don't want you to they don't want you to realize the reality that she's a 40-year-old woman, an overweight 40-year-old woman with kids at home. You ain't supposed to pay no attention to that. Just she's a princess. She's still fat. Women be 200 plus with no kids. Yeah. If you're in the US, Nick, yeah, I feel sorry for you, man. Like Adele. Yeah, to be fair, man, I thought Adele looked Adele. I don't know how you say her name. Adele. I thought she looked better when she was bigger, to be honest. Javi. I really thought that let me look at pictures before. Well, okay, no correction, because I remember when. Now here's I hate to be that guy who says these things, but I remember I used to follow Adele when Amy Winehouse was popping, right? Because I really enjoyed UK music artists, really enjoyed UK music artists. Because there was, oh fuck, what was that dude name? Plan B. I used to really like Plan B. If anybody knows Plan B, that it said, I love you, boy, I loved you so. It said, I love you, baby. Oh, 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 oh. It was a like he had a whole like I really enjoyed Plan B. I got really into UK artists after Amy Winehouse came out. I'd never heard, I had cable. I still remember the apartment I had cable in, and I still remember that morning I woke up and it was a You Ought to Know artist, and it was Rehab by Amy Winehouse on, and instantly fell in love with it. It was something I never heard before. So I went off and just dove into like UK music. And so the only problem that I have with UK artists, UK music, and maybe it's just me being American. In America, like we grew up with a little more permanence in the entertainment industry, whereas like the UK music artists tend to like they tend to like just they tend to do more of this whole like on off on off. Oh, there's a new one. Oh, new, old, new. Like they did that a lot more back then. And I think even now. Um, but yeah, I was following Adele back when she used to be real fat with with not short hair, but she wore like this like real like she was not physically that she wasn't cute. But she hit a moment like between there where she was still fat, but she was like thick, like cute. If I could show you the picture, I would show it to you now. But there was a moment before she got skinny where I thought she was just perfect in that like middle zone, like the way her head shape, her structure was, the makeup, like. But yeah, I can't remember. She had a song going like something like done it, and I wish that I was her, something like that. I got real into her, but Amy Winehouse was so big that like Adele just like nobody out the UK could even amount to that in America's to make it to MTV in America. There was no other, as far as I know. I could be mistaken because again, this was like 20 years ago, but there was no other UK. Amy Winehouse just hit that shit so hard that nobody else could even out the UK could even compete at that point in time. And then I remember after Amy Winehouse died, that Rolling in the Deep. No, I don't think Amy Winehouse died. She just like didn't make any music. That Rolling in the Deep came out, and that's when Adele just like took off, like fucking like. but but yeah, and so then I got into because I never listened to Radiohead, so I got real into Radiohead. I'm pretty sure Radiohead is from the UK. I can't remember now. Radiohead from the UK. So I tell you why I got into Radiohead. I got into Radiohead because one of my favorite movies, which is Vanilla Sky. For many different reasons, I just love Vanilla Sky. Absolutely love that movie. Because I remember the first time I watched it, I was building a computer and it was just on a TV. Didn't even know what the name of the movie was. I just left the TV on. I was building a computer and I kind of kept like turn over looking at it, and it was like listening to it, and was like putting pieces together. I kept fucking up something. I can't remember what I was fucking up. And slowly, I kind of got more interested in watching Vanilla Sky than actually putting the computer together. Because for those of you who ever seen Vanilla Sky, like slowly, like things start getting really weird. But it's like this weird mixture of like a casual, like friend movie with like this little bit of like a love interest. But it's like more like a casual movie. Like it would be like watching Friends, but then all of a sudden, like something really weird just happened, but then it just like just as fast as it came in, it's gone and it's like back to being normal again. Like, yo, what the fuck? I remember watching like, what the fuck? Did nobody just see that shit? Like, how did nobody say it? How did you just keep going with the movie and nobody says shit, right? Because there was one scene where Tom Cruise like in a bar and this motherfucker comes up, he goes, "Hey man, like, are you okay?" And Tom Cruise, he's like, "Fuck," he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm all right." And are all these people bothering you? He goes, "Oh, they're okay." He goes, "Well, maybe they're here because you want them to be here." And he goes, "Well, what I really want is for all of them to shut the fuck up, especially you." And everybody just shuts up and stares at him. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? Like, what is this? Right? It's almost on the same level as Nier Automata, right? I remember I was playing Nier Automata, One of my favorite games, by the way, but I can't play through it again. Kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2. The way the story goes, like if a story is just so great to me, I cannot play it over again because I just don't want to destroy that original feeling from that story unraveling. But in Nier Automata, I would show you, but I can't because Streamlabs is a piece of shit. Um, it was a game. It's like any game, and there would be cutscenes. Well, every now and then, it was very rare in this game, right? They'd be talking or something, and the camera would shift, and it'd be like this translucent girl in a red dress. Google this shit, right? And I'm like, yo, does nobody see that girl in a red dress? The first time I seen it, I thought maybe I was just tripping. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe they didn't mean to leave it in there. But like it would go maybe like 2 or 3 hours again. You go off and play, fight shit. Movie keeps, the story keeps going. Movies keep playing. And then she'll pop up again. I'm like, yo, am I the only one seeing this girl in red over there? Google the girl in the red. Let me see if I can find exactly what I'm looking for. So I can tell you exactly what it was. This girl in this red dress, man. I'm like, yo, am I the only one seeing this shit? I don't even know how to. Hold on. Let me go to YouTube. I know who the character is now, but like how it unraveled, it was like Nier Automata is still one of my favorite games. I'm still patiently waiting. It's called the Red Girl. Red Girl, yeah. But I'm still patiently waiting for a sequel to any type of a Nier sequel. Probably it's not going to be Automata. It's going to be Nier something else. But I'm still patiently waiting for a new one. Vanilla Sky is one of my favorite movies too. Yeah, yeah, man. Well, that's where I was going. How I got into Vanilla Sky was well, it was many different things too. It was just like the feeling, the vibe. It maybe didn't age too well. So I think it was made in like 2001. I enjoyed the movie so much. I watched the original. Hable Los Ojos, Open Your Eyes, and I kind of like Vanilla Sky better, more because of the music choices, just like the scenery, the music choices, the choices in color. So I got into a lot of just that's how I got into Jeff Buckley. Actually, I was talking about Jeff Buckley, I think last week with the song "Satisfied Mind," because they mentioned Jeff Buckley in the movie. So that's how I went off and looked at Jeff Buckley or Vicky Carr, and I got it, and I went off and looked both of them up and got to their music. I didn't like Vicky Carr, but I like some of Jeff Buckley. But that's how I got into Radiohead because they started playing everything in its right place. Everything in its right place in the beginning of the movie, and so that's how I got into Radiohead. And I never knew what the song, never heard the song "Creep." So now, like, so I'm not gonna say I know everything about Radiohead, but I probably know more than like the typical person does about about that type of shit. Um, that type, it's just music, but yeah. Near you. It's funny you mentioned building a computer. I plan to build one to learn AI computer vision. Where yeah, go for it, man. Yeah, I haven't built a computer in a decade now though. So I'm sure it's probably I'll probably be lost as fuck because I've seen the hard drives now are just like this, like almost looks like what RAM looks like a little harmonica. Like I had never touched that. So I used to work. I learned how to build computers when I worked at Dell, and it was one of those scenarios where like it that's one of the few jobs I would go back and work again if all those people would go back, because we had just this great kind of like family thing going, and they taught, and that's how I got into World of Warcraft, was working with them. So I was actually into World of Warcraft long before one of my friends was, and we didn't come to that conclusion till later. I got into it and gotten out of it, but because they were the friends that when I worked at Dell, they were really into World of Warcraft because at the time, it's 2023, everything's online now, but back then, that World of Warcraft, that the one that South Park made the episode off of, that was just completely mind blowing at the time, completely mind blowing. The fact that everybody you seen was a real person, right? Or supposedly, which I'm willing to bet they were probably all real people back then. I don't think bots were anywhere near as where they are, where they've been over the last 5 to 10 years now. Um, But yeah, so they got me into because they would keep talking about it, keep talking about it, keep talking about it. So of course, you become what you hang around. So I'm like, okay, yeah, man, what's this game? Like, how do I get into it? I said, well, you got to get a subscription and you got to have a computer that can handle it. And I knew nothing about building computers. So, so I went out. No, I don't think. I think my uncle gave me a computer, a desktop. I knew nothing, dude, at this time. So I didn't know anything about processors, video cards, rent, none of this shit, right? So I think I had an AGP slot in the in the desktop, and I bought a video card from Newegg, and I think the video card ended up being PCI Express. And you gotta remember, when you don't know what you're doing, that's just like soul crushing when you're like trying to piece this thing together. Now it's everything's going to be PCI Express. That was it 16x, or maybe it's evolved since then. I don't know. I'm so far removed from it now. But I had an AGP slot, so the video card didn't work back then. That was when. So okay, so let me finish that story. So I ended up going. I had him send that video card back. Got another one. It worked. Well, the other issue was back then, sound cards were actually very fucking beneficial, right? So much to even when I played World of Warcraft, like I remember when I bought a sound card and plugged it in, I could now hear like the rustling of the leaves when I walk over them, whereas before I couldn't hear it. So back then, the sound card, and I didn't have like great speakers or anything, but back then, like a $20 sound card was worth it. Nowadays, it's not worth it. Unless you're doing something serious with music, it's not worth it to get a sound card. Still couldn't tell you what kind of processor I had back then because I didn't build that computer. That was a pre-built. It was a basic, like probably was a Dell computer. But then from that, I went off to build my own computer, and then that's when the Vanilla Sky story kicks on. When I built my own computer, I had gotten out of World of Warcraft and I built my own, and that had an Athlon 3200. Athlon 3200 plus, I think, was the processor, if I'm not mistaken. Athlon 3200 plus. Back then, 2 gigs of RAM was like you were the shit. If you had 2 gigs of RAM, you could run pretty much mostly anything you wanted. At least run it, because back then I remember like you get a 256 card or 512 card, or a 1 gigabyte would be like $120 back then. For like a 1 gigabyte card back then would run you about $130. So it was a big deal if being a 20-year-old kid with a job back then, $100 is a lot of money. So like I remember splurging, and I got like I think the first computer I had I think 256 was it megabits of RAM in it, and I splurged. I spent all my money I had and bought the 1 gig, right? But to be fair, that 1 gig, I remember when I first turned the computer on after just putting in that slot, and Windows XP like booted up, like it was like night and day difference from that with that 1 gig of RAM. Yeah, man, I remember that shit. Don't ask me what kind of power supply I had in it. Didn't even know, didn't even care. As long as it turned on and worked, I knew nothing about that. Was just too deep, far too deep. But of course, you got better. The last computer I built, I think it had a nine. I still got I got the video card over in the other room. A 970 for the win. That was the first computer well, first, okay, with that computer that I built, I got the video card in the other room. It's a 970 for the win. It's in a drawer in the other room. That was okay. First, I bought the 960. It was a 2 gigabyte 960 version. I remember I was playing The Witcher 2, right? And I was playing it with a 960 2 gig. I think it was a 1.5 or 2 gigabytes or something like that, and it was playable. But then I was looking up reviews online, and the reviews were saying like, no, like the 970 is like so much better. Like the For the Win is like almost up there with a 980 at the time. So it's like it was like, and it was like $150 more or something like that. Yeah, it was $150 more because the 960 back then was $200, and the 970 For the Win was $380. So I said, fuck, I'm just gonna splurge again. I went back to Micro Center. I took back the 960 and got the 970 For the Win. And it was just like leagues better than the 960s, like just leagues better. So, and then the 970, I'm pretty sure that 970 came with The Witcher 3. That's how I got The Witcher 3 for free, was with that. I can't remember how much RAM I had. Maybe it wasn't 6 back then. 16 was just like saying something crazy. Back then, I probably had 4 gigs or maybe 8 gigs of RAM, something like that back then. Saying 16 gigs of RAM back then was like saying, a 3 billion terabyte hard drive. It was just something so ridiculous you would have never even touched it. Are we past 16 now? We past 16 gigs. Yo, time keeps moving, man. Like, I'm so far out the computer building game. I probably couldn't even build. I mean, I could have, of course, because YouTube. But if you just threw me in a room with the pieces, like I couldn't just slap it together. I'd have to like read to make sure, because this is the hard drive, or where the fuck is it? I'd play that Lego game with it. But yeah, man, I'm so far removed from. I haven't done it in so long. Because with that 970 for the win, actually, I tried to send that to this kid in Georgia. I think it was Georgia. It was some Facebook group, and he said he wanted to play, PC gaming and all this shit. So I said, look, well, I'll send you my old 970 for the win, right? So it's like, yeah, cool. And he gave me his information, and he wrote it. I don't know what language they use in Georgia. Let me look it up real fast, make sure I'm even saying the right shit. Let me see, alphabet, because it was some. Yep, that's it. Yeah. Georgian. Yeah. So he wrote it in. So I sort of like, look, dude, I can't write this shit on the package. Like, and on top of that, I was having my dad send it from North America. So my dad definitely wasn't going to write that shit. It's that Greek looking alphabet shit. So we had to translate the shit to English. And then when I sent it over there, when I had my dad send it to him and I paid for the shipping and all that, he said he got to the post office and they wouldn't let him take it out because he gave me his father's name and not his name or something like that. So he couldn't get out the post office. And it was just nothing we could do. They because they wouldn't give it to him. So it got shipped back to Ohio. And then when my dad came here, he just brought it here and gave it to me. So it's in a drawer in the other room. I don't even know if it works. Mr. Moji, we're on 16.2 now. You get 0.2 more. Really? Is that a thing? Or are you just playing with me? I don't know. Is it? No, it's 16. You're playing with me. Oh. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get out of here. This is 9:22. I'm gonna get out of here. So y'all have a good night, day, evening, wherever you are, man. And I'll catch you on a flippy flip. Oh, I gotta click off here because I'm not live streaming on Streamlabs. I'm looking up. It's the comment section right here. I'm looking at the whole other wrong shit. AD, have you seen Sound Freedom? Sound of Freedom? No, I haven't seen it. Haven't seen it. But yeah, I'm out of here. You have a good day, man. Peace out.